Alright everybody, welcome back, and we got ourselves the TOP guide of path and teams, you know, the usual stuff. We're going to be having a look at this here. So yeah, it's going to be a fun time here. And first up, as per usual, there's going to be timestamps in the description. And here's the path in. And in all honesty, this board is actually quite iffy because the fact that it's so all over the place that it almost makes it very difficult to deal with. And we'll get into that in a bit. But this is the way we were looking. Obviously, circle fights are going to be like the more harder fights, and there is quite a few. I think I've already forgotten, but there is a good chunk of some fights going to be difficult enough. I tried my best to get it as easy as possibly can. The second half definitely does bridge into that easy territory, but that's just the way we're going to have to deal with the pattern. So yeah, this will be a fun time. But now we're going to have a look at some of those fights. And our first up, I'm actually going to show you the first wee bit here, right? So we check this here. Okay, we got ourselves a nice movies team. And this is on the pattern. So the way you will want to do this here is you got to remember, the more allies there is, he gets stronger. In other words, kill people. He's got a buff against powerful opponent. He's got a blast nullification. He's got a blast nullification and a universal cover change. He's got a strike cover change and he's got a strike cover change, and he's a revival unit. So you have to take him out last. So in all honesty, the way you probably would prioritize this boss, but you can, Gogeta Blue is your main target, right? Gohan will be next, and then give her a Bojack afterwards. Broly, Janemba, and then Python. That's the way you would probably do this here. And obviously, do not bring a red. If you bring a red, you are mentally ill. I'm joking. But yeah, that's the way you would want to do that fight as best you can. But other fights include this here. Okay, so why is this not on the pattern? You may be asking. Well, that's a good question. But over here is the state. It's a boss fight on the first fucking thing if you were to go that left. It's a boss fight. Why? But anyways, if you go over here, okay. Yeah, no, we don't do this here. We've dealt with this here at least 2 to 3 times before. Never again. And this 3-fist fight, okay, that's easy. Why are you not going in this direction? Well, that's because you either have to deal with this fight, which to be honest with you is not that bad. But it's still a bit of an issue. You deal with this 5-fist fight, which is an all ultra team. No, you have a stun. You have 2 stuns, a turn 1 super attack, universal cover change on at least 2 characters. So you have fun time there. And then you have this one, a future fight with another turn 1 super, mental debuffer, double attack, cover change, all the usual. In all honesty, if you were to do another pattern, I would definitely suggest this here, to go for this here and push your luck with this here. But the other way is going to be easy, which is obviously going to be this one right here. It's not too bad in all honesty, because, I mean, as long as you get rid of the tag unit first and this ultra character, you're mostly fine enough. Frieza does do beat debuff, but that's besides the point. This one, not too bad, despite the fact there is a turn 2 super attack and turn 2 stun with a universal cover change, but get rid of those 2 first, you're fine for the rest of the way. Ah yes, the Mohawk fight, as at this point we're just calling it here at this point because we cannot be bothered. But Zamasu, you see the bottom row, stay away from it. That's it. That's the main thing you need to be wary about. Stay away from the bottom row. And 16 is 70% of his HP. I think I've already forgotten again, but it's more than likely 70% of his HP, not 50% the way I thought it was before, but 70%. Now this one is so easy. You love to see these fights. Anytime you see this fight, I try my best to get to it. But if I can't, it is what it is. But why go for this fight? There's no synergy. You've got Beerus and Whis. That's all the synergy you have from this here. Might have Piccolo with a super attack guarantee, but he doesn't get that to turn 3. You might have 2 stunners on the thing, but he can easily get rid of them. So yeah, that's an easy fight. These 2 first immediately, and then him before turn 3. Okay, now I wouldn't say this is a bad fight. This is on the pattern. And why is it not a bad fight? Well, I mean, it's easy enough if you know what you're doing. But there is 2 stuns with this Krillin and this Krillin. He is turn 1, and I think he might be also turn 1 or it's turn 2. There will be a double check, but I'm 90% sure it is at least turn 2 with one of them, and turn 1 with the other. Be wary of him though, because he does get a super attack quite quickly. That's it. And obviously tag unit, get rid of them. Ah yes, this here fight, this is a very enjoyable one. Mightn't be as difficult as the normal Majin Buu fight, but it's still something to be wary of, because you have obviously Ultra Kid Buu, got yourself a double attacker and a stunner with a debuffer and a healer, another debuffer, and a blast cover change with a Evil Buu. But it's not too bad. I will say this much, not too bad, because we leave Evil Boo to the last, because, I mean, he is what it is. We always leave him to last, even on the Majin Buu fight, despite the fact he's got blast cover change, but easily dealt with. So, the way you want to do this here, I would say prioritize these two, the free-to-play and Buuhan, because of the double attack and the stun. Prioritize them first, then Ultra Kid Buu third. I would say would be the best option possibly. But otherwise, I would definitely say get rid of Ultra Kid Buu first, then these two, because you have to wait for turn 3 before he does it, so kill him by turn 2, you're fine. Yes, in the first boss fight here, you have 2 stunners, so try and get rid of them before turn 2. But kill him by turn 1. If you can, good. If not, I would probably suggest get rid of the red one first, because he's easier put down. That's the only reason. Ultra Broly is a quite good tank. Now, you have these two who have a bubble shield mechanic, in other words, they'll nullify anything except for blue cards and ultimates, but leave him to last. That's all your best bet is, leave him to last. In other words, if you can kill Ultra Broly before turn 2, or if you feel like if you don't, go for him fourth, and then get rid of these two last. That is it. Okay, now I'm going to point this out, but you don't really need to care too much per se. Only because the fact that, I'm only pointing this out because the fact that there is Pan and Beast Gohan. That's the only reason. Otherwise, it's not really much of a fight. Because as long as you kill these two, especially him before turn 3 and her before turn 2, you're fine. That is mostly it. Because this Goten does provide a bit of buffs with the support because he's a support character, but it's not too much for you to be wary of. These two are your main priority, and obviously leave Death Buff Goku the last. Okay, now this is going to be the last fight. And the only reason why I put this here is because, I mean, if we're being realistic, this 5-fist fight here, no. This 4-fist fight, no, rather not. So in other words, you go for this fight, which is easy enough, don't really need to worry about that because it's just as. But if you go for here, you have the option of a future fight, a full ultra fight as we saw in the very first far left tile, or you have a slightly less difficult, but easier managed fusion fight, which is literally the only thing I can say is because the other team has 5 ultras, this one has 3, but I'll put this in massive quotations, easier to get rid of. Why? Because, I mean, as long as you get rid of Ultra Gogeta before he, if you're able to kill him before you put him, if you put him down to 50% HP but you don't kill him, he'll get a guaranteed blue card. But if he attacks you before you attack him and you kill him before turn 2, you'll be fine. Gogeta Blue, again, the Universal Cover Change and the Blast Arts Nullification. Gogeta 4, Universal Cover Change, Strike Counter, Strike Cover, and a Blast Cover. Fusing Gogeta has a Blast Cover, not Super Vegito, with a Strike Cover. Why is that? Makes no sense, I do not care. But the way you want to do this is by getting rid of UG4 first. Then UGB will be your next best bet. Then it would be the Fusion Boys. Kill them before turn 3. And I know Super Gogeta does have, the more people you die, he gets a super attack quicker. So kill him before that happens, if you can, by all means. Then obviously LFG4 is going to be the one last because he is the tank, he's the team. But otherwise, that's what we're worried of. More allies die, he gets super attack. He Blast Arts, Nullification, Universal Cover Change, same thing with him, but it's a Universal Nullification. And obviously Blast Cover Change, but that won't even matter because you'll have him dead before turn 3, hopefully. Now, there is an alternate path in, because this here is where we start off, right? And we've just below, because this one, I mean, not too bad. It's least into this here, but you can go for this here for a 5-fist fight. But then there's 4-fist fight over here, not too bad. There is over this direction, to which you don't go for this here because, I mean, there's too much debuffs, buffs, whatever crap that's on this here. In other words, you go for the 3-fist fight, which is a nice free-play squad. Then you move over to 5-fist fight, easily done. Just kill him before turn 2, you're fine. Then obviously you go for the 4-fist fight, easy enough. I will say this is actually easy enough. Then obviously you can go for this here if you want to, or stay with a 3-fist fight, which you would have already dealt by this point. Then there's 3-fist fight in front of you, or you could do this one right here, doesn't matter, take your pick. And then you end it off on this one right here, which is what we've already seen. Now, I would have preferred to have went over here, but the slight, I mean, you can if you want to. Again, it's a choice, by all means. I will probably end up going far left instead of the right. Again, it's a possibility. I'm not even too sure myself, only because the fact, I mean, easy, that beast go home, pan fight, easy enough. Easy, 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 and then somewhat of a nightmare fuel. Whereas over here, does have easy, easy, I mean, bit of a state, easy enough, easy. Then you obviously have this here if you really wanted to, but it's not too bad. But this one is the better option. No, that's not the right one. Easy, and then obviously easy. Again, I'd say that left one is a bit more easier. But I think I'll go that direction, just depending on my units. Otherwise, I will still go right, because by that point, hopefully, units will be fine enough. But you know, that's going to be the path. And those are some of the fights that I want to just point out on the actual path and then the alternate path in the second half. But now, we're going to get straight into the cover changes. And as you can see here, here's all the cover changes on every single fight on the normal path and on the orange path, as I say. That's what's going to be there. But then if you go to the yellow, fight, then it becomes a tad bit more of a blast cover, because again, as you saw, there is obviously this one, Raditz. Over here, there's Tapion with a universal. You've got Spyfist fight. There's nothing really. You'll be fine here. Over here, Forfist. You've got the droids. You got Gohan, and that's it. And then that's it. Here, Strike, Universal, and 2 nullifications. This one, nothing. If you go for this one, it's again 2 blast cover changes. And then you end off here with Universal, Strike Counter, Strike Cover, Strike Cover, Strike Cover, Strike Cover. It's a Strike Cover's nightmare. It's a Strike team's nightmare, this team is. That's it. So yeah, no, it still technically equates to like some form of Strike Covers, but blast teams, again, very, very noticeable, the better option. Then obviously, here's what I expect. Again, on the orange path, is what I expect to happen. All the nullifications and all of the universal covers will happen, more than likely, if it's within range. But that's only also dependent on the team you run. If you run a strike team, you're going to see all the strike nullifications and none of the blast nullifications. But if you run a blast team, vice versa, and then universal nullifications is going to happen no matter what, because the 2 Brolys on that boss fight, as you do. But so yeah, no, again, as you can still see here, I will more than likely see the strike cover changes. Universal ones are a bit more apprehensive, because again, I don't know what way the board is structured for the enemy team, so I can't perfectly say that, oh hey, we're going to be seeing this here, this here, this here, this here. It's going to be the same formation that it is usually any other season, but I have the memory fish of a brain, so yeah, it doesn't exactly help. But yeah, that's been that. Now we're going to get into some teams, and obviously I'm going to be explaining a couple of things as to why I'm not going to I'm not going to let you pick any of the teams, because technically speaking, you already would have had. But we'll get into that in a second, so yeah, let's get into them. Alright, now to give context, this here was a post that I made 2 days ago, asking you a challenge, and I've got to use first place's team. And no, I'll see, the comment here actually is a very good idea. Whenever I do get a chance, I might actually do that. So yeah, this is going to be the team that I'm going to be running this season. It's a rival universe with Zaha. Why? Because they're all Z tier. So yeah, this is basically what I've made right here. Here's the progress I've got. Obviously, I've not got hits at number 2, but that's besides the point. So yeah, it's going to be a fun time. But if you want a better rival universe team, here is the better team. Why? Because it just is. And because the fact there is actually a good blast yellow with Kale and Caulifla. You could also run the new Sparkin, but they're strike based, so leave them. Kale there for the buffs of HP. Bergamo there, max HP. And obviously Kin Vados there for the usual buffs as is. A lot of debuffs, a lot of damage. This will be the better option if you were to run Rival Universe. That's all I will say. Next up is going to be a Uni Reps for a nice transition. And obviously, what we got here, got yourself 17 for the attribute abnormal conditions upgrade fucking thing. Don't know. Obviously, UI Goku there for the dodge and, you know, his fast key recovery. Frieza there for turn 1 super. Again, Bergamo again, and Vados and Dispo and Kefla there. just the usual from before. And then that golden Frieza there for a wee bit of extra heals. If you want to, blue Kale's also there. Next up is going to be a hybrids team, and this is going to be Blast. This is Blast based. I want to reiterate, it's a Blast based team. Now, you could obviously run an extra top tier character like Ultra Beast Gohan because his stands for hybrids, but I decided to put on the Z tier green Gotenks. Why? Because I mean, might as well get the extra boost, and because I really haven't got much else better, because this is all the best I got this team. So yeah, obviously good damage, HPC ability, debuffs, all the usual stuff. Next up is going to be GT Squad, and yeah, that's honestly the best team, I will say, because the fact that Super 17, double attack when there's a yellow, Baby 2, literally not going to be going anywhere because he's pure core. If you want to run another purple, there's not really much else other than the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but I don't have him high stars, so I can't really run him. But you can if you do have him at least 7 stars. 6 stars I would say is actually pretty decent enough, but 7 is definitely key. A lot of debuffs, super attacks, all the usual stuff. Next up is going to be Regen, a team I haven't ran in a long time, and the fact I've got the purple cell there is going to be making it even better. But obviously if you want to, and if you have another choice, the Power Wicked and Piccolo, the purple one, very good. Or more free-to-play friendly, obviously the free-to-play Piccolo Red Ribbon Army suit. All very good options. Nails are just because of the Z tier boost, and to be fair, I would say most characters here are actually quite in A tier. So I just want to point that out just to make sure. Next up is going to be Sun Family, and I was very hesitant to call it Sun Family because it's mostly just hybrids with 2 Gokus. Because Sun Family really doesn't have any blast units, they're mostly strike based. That's mostly it. But you know, you can run this here. Gohan there, powerful opponent buff. Green Gohan for the revival. That Goten there, support for Gokus and Gohans. That Gohan there, the blue one, super attack actually quite quick enough. Pan again, debuffs, HPC ability, and Gokus there just for yellow, just because. Next up is going to be a Dragon Ball Saga. And in all honesty, I feel like as if I'm forgetting someone that I should have put on the team, but I have no idea because I've already forgotten. But this is still a very good team. If you do have, in fact, the Tambourine, I would say use him, but make sure you have some character with their Zenkai buffing, or have him at least 7 stars. That's it. Otherwise, this is the perfect enough team. Debuffs, damage, support, all the usual. Yeah, this is a very good team, that's all I will say. Next up is going to be LOE. Now, obviously, got a stun. If you want another stunner, I will say take off the yellow Metal Cooler, because obviously Golden Frieza there, more than enough for yellow, and put on the red Movie Frieza. Or the green cooler, but you've already got 2 greens, so there's no point. So I would say probably put on the red Movie Frieza. But you know, again, it's a very good team. HP, you know, all the usual stuff, a lot of heals. And if you wanted to, there's the Revival Frieza, to which, funny enough, next team is going to be up against Frieza Force with the Revival Frieza. And I've got the Revival Nappa there, just because we got 3 people healing. Golkum, Naval, Frieza, Nappa there just because he'll actually be pretty decent enough if you needed an extra yellow. Revival Nappa, he's just Revival, same for Frieza. This team will not die on you whatsoever. And if you wanted another purple unit, I would suggest the Revival Captain Ginyu, just because he's another Revival unit. Otherwise, this team will not die. This team will not die. Okay, now we're going to get into some new characters. And obviously, we're going to start off here with the free-to-play Trunks. And I said this here, actually, funny enough, in the second part of last season, that he's actually very good. Why is that? We'll get into this here, because look at this here. I mean, key resource speed about more or less 2,400. Alright, he's primarily strike based, obviously, because, I mean, why wouldn't you? And let's see here, obviously nothing else. And then we get into this here. Look at this here, 30% to key and 10 to gauge. Start of turn 1, allies and raid. That's the whole board. The entire board just gets 10% for free and significantly extra key recovery for 2 turns. In other words, if you really are going to be going up against that future team, if you really want to be torturing yourself, bring a shitload of purples that have super attacks ready. You'll be killing them immediately. They'll all more than likely be faster. So yeah, there's that, and plus 20% is mental. And I think he actually does himself as well, so there's that. It's just the fact that he's strike based. But it does say here, on blast attack, he can minus a gauge by 5 and to minus a key recovery by 10%. Meaning that he can more than likely, again, if he's fast enough, which I highly doubt because Black has like over 3,000 key recovery. So he'll more likely still be slower, but it could actually almost potentially get rid of his super attack before he even launches it. That's if this Trunks actually is faster, which I highly doubt he'll ever be. But still, that's very powerful enough if it is correctly done. But again, that's also dependent on situations, because by that point probably would have built a super attack up anyway. But anyways, next one is going to be this here. Special move hit. End of turn 2, allies in range. In other words, the whole board still 3% health and 20 extra damage, and cancels attribute downgrades and abnormalities. I say this Trunks is strong. I mean, we don't really care about special move arts. I mean, yes, he might be able to get it up quick enough, but this Trunks is strong. I believe he is very strong. It's just a fact that he's selected for hybrid, future, and event exclusive. Which, to be fair, the event exclusive, I can't speak. Event exclusive is very blast based. Future, in all honesty, the best team is mostly blast, and hybrid is actually mostly strike. In a sense, it can be mostly strike, but it can also work with blast. But I mean, the primary usage is blast based, but I mean, the more cards I have is strike based, but besides the point. But yeah, I will actually give this Trunks not as high as a score, obviously, as like the androids that came out, because this is a free-to-play character. If I was to give it an overall ranking with just like the premium unit against the premium units, I would say he's about 7. I actually will say he's about a 7, just because the fact that 10% on turn 1, insane, and Q recovery, insane, and then obviously the end of turn 2, 3% heal, insane. But for free-to-play character-wise, he's actually very high. I'm going to score him a 9. But that's only based on paper and not proper utility. So there's that. Now obviously we got ourselves some Zenkais as well. So we're going to actually have a look at Zenkais, because should be looking at Zenkais, because technically it's a new unit. So yeah, we'll have a look at Zamasu and Goku Black Zenkai. Okay, anyways, I found them. I only have them in Zenkai 4 because I mean it only just came out. So yeah, we're gonna have a look, see here, look at max stats, because obviously I can't do anything about that. Can be run on either team, strike or blast, although primarily strike and primarily blast based. But can be run on either or. 2, 4, 3, 7, not too bad. Obviously got, oh wait, that's not the wrong thing. That's the wrong thing, but still, primarily blast based, but can be run on others. 2, 4, 4, 9, not too bad. Although Friendship rank 10, it could easily be at least 2,550. But yeah, no, blue card, and then here we go. Usual stuff. Attribute downgrade. Okay, so it's downgrades twice. That's no 30%. Okay, so he's got a lot of damage received, but that's 40% for 1 turn, which I feel like is iffy. And to be fair with you, only thing I will say, strike and blast arts for both of them can reduce the key recovery by 20. That's not bad. So in other words, the entire fight gets rid of most of the key recovery. So I wouldn't say that's too bad. That's not too bad. So yeah, next one, let's see here. Okay, here we go. 70% damage for 1 turn. Oh wait, that's just 1 turn. Oh wait, that's the start turn. I mean, receive an attack, 4% to himself, 30 damage, 30 key, and he gets special move. An ally. Oh, and allies. Okay, no, he's mid. I will say mid. Because I mean, the only thing I will say is that if he can tank, which to be fair with you, most Zenkais can tank like hell. I mean, look at Super Baby 2. He's lived an entire generation worth of TOP 5 times at least at this point, and he's still being ran, and he's the core unit on Regen on GT. So I mean, for a defense Zenkai unit, I'll say he's okay. Minus the fact that you really need him to be hit and people dead, which is stupid, because it just doesn't make sense. But yeah, no, again, future God Key can't even be ran with many characters, and yeah, no, it's mostly blast based. Okay, yeah, no, I would, if I was to give this character a rating, I will give them a 3. In all honesty, a 3. Minus the fact his tanking might actually be good. His kit is just meh. There's nothing to it really. To be quite honest with you, again, other than this here, it's meh. If the Nullify attribute downgrades had been abnormalities, that would have been different. I might have bumped him up to maybe a 5. But the fact it's downgrades, attribute downgrades, is shit. That's literally, it's just shit. So yeah, fun times. So yeah, no, you're useless. You won't be ran unless people are really starving for, I don't know, any green, which you're not going to be if you run a future or God Key. There's quite a few, but who can run God Key at this point? Because it doesn't even exist in TOP. It doesn't even become a tag. But yeah, that's the new characters, because last I checked, there, other than Nuova Shinron, who is actually okay enough, and to be fair out there, he's like one of the main yellows on a strike-based GT team. Not really much else really to say about him. So yeah, there's that. And that is going to be it for this guide. Hope you enjoyed. If there was anything, again, I probably would have said this already in the teams thing, but if there any teams that did leave out, be sure to leave them down in the comment section below. And yeah, it's going to be a fun season. It is going to be a fun season. I probably hopefully will get enough points to actually live. And yeah, no, as we saw from last season from the girls team, friendship rank is really important. So yeah, no, friendship rank is going to be a fun time trying to get the characters up. But yeah, I shall see us all when that video comes out, and you can watch the torture happen.